welcome to the Daily Allegory through Astrological Divination. Happy New Year to everybody, and happy Janus Breaks to those that are celebrating Janus Breaks, like myself. We're going to start this off with an affirmation leading into the new full moon, the wolf moon, and the new year. So our affirmation, say it with me, everybody. I walk clean through every crossroads. What was sent against me returns to balance, and I remain untouched, protected, and aligned. As the new year begins, a nervous inner circle turns to mirror magic, isolation tactics, and reckless voodoo meant to fracture a chosen target, only to watch every spell rebound instantly and violently, illness blooming among the senders instead. So instead of it hitting the target, it's backfiring immediately. What they don't anticipate is the swift arrival of Baron Samedi, Mama Brigitte, and Papa Legba, who move through the situation like cosmic auditors, collecting long overdue debts and restoring balance with brutal precision. Judges sign a no-knock warrant, or warrants, plural. There's more than one. A mob boss receives a psychic warning to retreat before the tower falls, and the tarot archetypes unfold in sequence, the devil binding them to their own corruption, the magician revealing misuse of will or abuse of power. The fool exposes reckless beginnings, the star offering truth after collapse, and the wheel of fortune reversing power. So if you were in control for last season, which was fuck around, this season, the target will have the power in the season of find out. And death, closing a cycle for good. The story becomes a cautionary parable whispered by spirits themselves when demons are summoned to collect confusion, illness, or ruin and find the intended target untouched or untouchable. They return to claim payment from the summoner and their entire circle, often in the exact form of harm they tried to inflict, proving that abused magic does not miss. It only redirects and realigns, finds a new target, if you will. But it always hits no matter what. This story is called Reflections Ode, and for those of you dabbling in candle magic, mirror magic, and playing with puppets and other people's energies, this one is definitely something you want to tune into. Because in a new year, this is the year where we unravel corruption. We find out all back-end deals. Public scandals get illuminated nationally. People find out the true dynamic of their relations with people that they grew up related to, and other things along that nature. Follow along now. They thought the new year was leverage, a thin moment where reality could be bent if you pressed it hard enough. Mirrors appeared in places mirrors did not belong. Bathrooms with the lights off, back rooms draped in velvet, phone screens turned black and reflective at midnight. They spoke about isolation like it was logistics, about casualties like acceptable loss, expendable people, if you will. They called it strategy. They told themselves it was protection. And when the first rites went out, illness sent on borrowed death. Confusion packaged as prayer. They smiled at how quickly it seemed to work. It worked for minutes, at best. Then the reflections began to stare back. Every attempt to weaken their target snapped inward, rebounded with surgical precision. Fevers bloomed in the wrong bodies. Panic attacks hit the planners, not the planned. Relationships fractured among the conjurers, not the conjured. The more they escalated, the faster the recoil, like a circuit closing itself with nowhere for the charge to go. Someone whispered a name in fear, and fear answered. Baron Samedi, laughing at the doorway between life and consequence. Mama Brigitte, arriving with a fire in her voice and a ledger in her hand. And Papa Legba, unlocking roads they didn't even know could be turned against them. Debts long ignored, all of a sudden were due with interest. The tarot began arranging itself in their dreams. The devil showed them that the fine print they signed with arrogance. The magician revealed the difference between power and competence. The fool replayed their first step the moment they mistook curiosity for mastery. The tower flickered at the edge of every plan, and a psychic, pale and shaking, warned a mob boss to stand down or be buried by it, he declared as a caution. The wheel of fortune turned without permission. Death followed, not always as an ending of breath, but as the end of protection, legal and illegal, the end of silence, and the end of immunity. Astrology pressed like a vice. Jupiter trans Saturn in the 7th hardened outcomes into binding agreements. Jupiter square Chiron dragged old wounds into daylight where they festered. The Leo stellium of Mars, Sun, and Venus turned pride into spectacle, and spectacle into evidence, material evidence of the subject matter, too, at that. I think that's a term only in federal cases, though, not state and local. Under the Pisces stellium of the North Node, Saturn, and Neptune, lies dissolved, confessions slipped out, sideways at that, and illusions drowned out their own fog. Jupiter in Cancer shielded homes that were meant to be invaded and turned the invaders inward, toward their own kitchens, their own beds, their own bloodlines. Then the warrants came. No knock, no warning, doors folded. Phones died mid-call, ledgers surfaced where none should even exist. They thought they got rid of it. They did not. And through it all ran a quieter terror, the realization that spirits summoned for one purpose do not negotiate failure. They do not care what the excuse is, and there is no exceptions. A voice, calm, almost kind, kept repeating the rule that they had broken. If you call a force to collect what cannot be taken, it will collect from you instead. Keep that in mind when we're conjuring demons, making blood oaths, and sending people ill intent. Health, finances, sleep, loyalty, sanity, one by one, taken away without hesitation. By the time they tried to stop, the mirrors had already cracked. What stared back wasn't the enemy that they imagined, it was themselves, stripped of alibis. The new year opened not with fireworks, but with reckoning. Roads changed direction, debts were balanced, and somewhere, keys rattled softly, marking the end of games played at the crossroads. As the keys rattling were the keys of Hecate, and the crone came to collect the dew. We're going to end this with the invocation of the returned reflection and the settled debt. At the turning of the year, at the quiet hinge between what was and what must be, I stand at the crossroads and speak plainly. To the keepers of the roads and reckonings, to the watchers who see both sides of the mirror, hear this call, not for harm, but for balance. Let every false reflection dissolve. Let every thread pulled in secrecy be released from my name. What was sent in malice return to source as truth. What was borrowed without consent be restored in right order. I ask for the closing of harmful loops and the sealing of doors that should have never been opened. Let confusion clear. Let fear lose its teeth. Let illness, sabotage, and coercion fall away like ash. By the laws that govern cause and effect, by the justice that does not miss its mark. Let debts be settled without blood, and lessons arrive without destruction. Open a clean road forward, steady mind, protected home, loyal circle, abundance in finances, clarity in decisions, and peace in motion. May those who chose deception face themselves, and may I walk on unburdened and unseen by malice, aligned with what endures. The mirror is returned, the balance is restored, the path is mine to walk, clear, guarded, and whole. With the divine authority I contain, I declare this be law that underlies law, and so it is. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful new year. I know as long as we're making good choices out there, that's an absolute. It'll be wonderful. Otherwise, it's the season to find out.